Imagine standing in the middle of the North Atlantic. The wind is screaming. Snow is falling sideways. Every wave crashes against your ship like a hammer. The temperature is well below freezing. There is no cabin, no heater, no engine, no waterproof jacket, and no fire. Behind you, thousands of kilometers of open ocean. Ahead, nothing but an endless frozen horizon. If your ship sinks, no one is coming. Yet more than 1,000 years ago, the Norsemen crossed these waters again and again. They discovered Iceland, settled Greenland, and even reached North America nearly 5 centuries before Christopher Columbus. How did they survive one of the most dangerous oceans on Earth? Without modern technology, the answer wasn't brute strength. It wasn't luck. It was one of history's greatest survival systems, built through generations of experience, engineering, and an incredible understanding of nature. Today, we're uncovering the forgotten secrets that kept the Norsemen alive when almost everything around them wanted them dead. To understand their survival, you first need to understand their enemy. The North Atlantic isn't just cold, it's unpredictable. Even during summer, towering waves can appear without warning. Strong winds can change direction in minutes. Dense fog can hide entire coastlines. In winter, everything becomes worse. Sea spray freezes onto the ship. Ropes turn stiff as iron. Wood becomes slippery with ice. Every task becomes harder. Even holding an oar for hours can become painful, as fingers slowly lose feeling. The sea didn't care whether you were a king, a warrior, or an ordinary sailor. One mistake could end everything. But the Norsemen didn't fear the sea. They respected it, because they understood something many others didn't. You don't defeat nature. You learn how to work with it. Most people imagine Viking ships as simple wooden boats. They weren't. Every part of a Norse longship had a purpose. Its long, narrow shape allowed it to cut through rough waves instead of fighting against them. The overlapping wooden planks made the hull both strong and flexible. Instead of breaking under powerful waves, the ship bent with the ocean's movement. That flexibility saved countless lives. The shallow design also allowed the ship to land almost anywhere. A sandy beach, a rocky shoreline, even a riverbank. If a dangerous storm approached, the crew could quickly pull the ship onto land and wait for better weather. Modern rescue boats still use many of these same design principles today. For the Norsemen, their ship wasn't just transportation. It was home, shelter, and sometimes the only thing standing between life and death. If you're freezing, your first thought is probably simple. Build a fire. But aboard a wooden ship, fire could be even more dangerous than the cold itself. The ship was built from dry timber. The ropes were made from natural fibers. Animal fat coated many wooden surfaces to protect them from water. One flying spark could turn the entire ship into an inferno. And in the middle of the ocean, there would be nowhere to escape. Instead of carrying fire, the Norsemen focused on something much smarter: preventing heat loss. Because staying warm isn't only about creating heat. Sometimes it's about keeping the heat you already have. That simple idea changed everything. The Norse didn't wear thick coats made from modern synthetic materials. They relied on something much older: wool. But not just any wool. The sheep raised across Scandinavia produced dense, oily fleece, naturally resistant to moisture. Unlike cotton, wool continues insulating even after becoming damp, layer after layer. The Norsemen trapped warm air close to their bodies, a light inner layer, a thicker wool tunic, then an outer cloak that blocked freezing wind. Animal fur added another protective barrier, during the harshest weather. Every layer worked together, not because someone wrote the science in a book, but because generations had already tested it through experience. If one method failed, people didn't survive long enough to pass it on. Only the best ideas remained. Ironically, modern mountaineers still use exactly the same principle. Base layer, insulation layer, protective outer layer. 1,000 years later, the science hasn't changed. Only the materials have. Many people think freezing temperatures are the greatest danger. They're wrong. The real killer is the wind. Wind strips away body heat faster than still air ever could. A calm winter day might feel uncomfortable, but add powerful ocean winds, and your body begins losing heat at an alarming speed. The Norse understood this long before scientists explained wind chill. Whenever possible, they adjusted their large wool sail, not simply to catch the wind, but to block it. The sail became a moving wall, protecting the crew from direct exposure. Even reducing the wind by a small amount made an enormous difference during long voyages. Sometimes, survival isn't about making things warm. It's about making them less cold. Night was often the hardest part of any journey. The sun disappeared. Temperatures dropped even further. Everything became quieter, except the waves. Unlike modern ships, there were no private rooms, no heated beds, no comfortable blankets. Instead, the crew slept closely together beneath heavy animal hide coverings, sharing body heat, rotating positions, taking turns staying awake while others rested. It wasn't comfortable, it wasn't luxurious. But it worked, because every person became part of the survival system. No one survived alone. Every crew member depended on everyone else, and perhaps that was the Norsemen's greatest strength. Not stronger ships, not warmer clothing, but stronger teamwork. Surviving the cold wasn't only about staying warm. The human body is like a furnace. Without fuel, it cannot produce heat. The Norsemen understood this better than most civilizations of their time. Fresh food spoiled quickly during long voyages, so they prepared food that could survive weeks at sea. Dried fish, smoked meat, hard barley bread, butter, cheese, and fermented foods that lasted far longer than fresh meat. These meals weren't exciting, but they were packed with calories. Every bite gave the body energy to fight the freezing temperatures. Even drinking water required planning. Fresh water froze easily, so crews carried wooden barrels and carefully rationed every drop. Running out of food wasn't just hunger. It meant losing the body's ability to stay warm. Today, we have GPS satellites, weather apps, radar. The Norsemen had none of these. Instead, they studied nature itself. They watched the clouds, the movement of birds, the direction of ocean swells, the color of the sky. Even the smell of the air could warn experienced sailors that land was nearby. Some historians believe Norse sailors may also have used special crystals, often called sunstones, to estimate the position of the sun on cloudy days. While researchers still debate exactly how often they were used, one thing is certain: the Norse were exceptional navigators. Generation after generation, knowledge was passed from experienced sailors to young crew members. The sea became their classroom. Many people imagine Norsemen sailing through endless winter storms. The reality was very different. Experienced captains rarely challenged nature without reason. Long ocean crossings were usually planned during late spring and summer. The weather was calmer, days were longer, temperatures were less deadly. If conditions became dangerous, they often stayed close to the coastline, stopping in sheltered bays. repairing damaged equipment, drying clothing, waiting patiently for safer weather. This wasn't fear, it was intelligence. Knowing when not to sail often saved more lives than bravery ever could. A Norse longship wasn't controlled by one man. It depended on teamwork. Some rowed, some navigated, some watched the horizon. Others repaired ropes, sails, or damaged equipment. If someone became exhausted, another crew member replaced him. There was almost no room for selfishness. Everyone depended on everyone else. One mistake could threaten the entire ship. This shared responsibility created extraordinary discipline. The strongest crews weren't always the biggest. They were the ones who trusted each other completely. So, what was the Norsemen's greatest invention? It wasn't the longship. It wasn't their clothing. It wasn't even their navigation. It was something far more valuable: knowledge. Every voyage taught them something. Which coastline was safest? Which winds brought storms? Which clothes stayed warm? Which mistakes cost lives? That knowledge was shared, improved, and passed to the next generation. Over centuries, thousands of small lessons became one incredible survival system, a system that allowed ordinary people to achieve extraordinary journeys. Movies often show the Norsemen as fearless warriors swinging axes into battle, but that tells only part of their story. Before they were conquerors, they were explorers, builders, farmers, shipwrights, navigators, engineers. Their greatest victories weren't always won with weapons. Some were won against freezing oceans, towering waves, and impossible distances. They crossed waters that many people feared, not because they ignored danger, but because they respected it. They prepared for it, and they worked together to overcome it. Perhaps that's the greatest lesson they left behind. Survival isn't about being the strongest person in the world. It's about understanding your environment, planning carefully, learning from experience, and trusting the people beside you. More than 1,000 years later, modern survival experts still teach many of the same principles. Layer your clothing, protect yourself from the wind, work as a team, respect nature, and never underestimate preparation. The tools may have changed, but the science of survival hasn't. The next time you see a frozen ocean, remember this: long before engines, long before satellites, long before modern technology, the Norsemen crossed these waters using nothing more than wood, wool, knowledge, and courage, and somehow they changed history forever. If you enjoyed discovering the hidden engineering and survival secrets of history, subscribe to Shadow Outlines. Because history isn't just about wars and kings. Sometimes, the greatest stories are about the ordinary people who found extraordinary ways to survive. And there are many more forgotten stories waiting to be uncovered. Thanks for watching.